Hello, my dear students. I hope you all are healthy and enjoying this time with your family. I also hope that you are learning lots of new things because learning should never be stopped. So, today in English literature, we will go through a new chapter, that is Robinson Crusoe discovers a footprint. Robinson Crusoe was a sailor. He loved traveling. Once he went on a voyage and he was shipwrecked in a thunderstorm. He somehow survived and was washed to a deserted island. Deserted means where nobody lives. He lived there for many years all alone. In this chapter, we will read the part where one day he discovered a footprint on the sand. And he was really surprised to see it because, according to him, he was the only person living on that island. He was a bit scared too. So let's find out what happened next. Let's begin with the chapter Robinson Crusoe discovers a footprint. One day, when I was going towards my boat, I was surprised to see the footprint of a man on the sand. I stood amazed. I listened. I looked around me. I could neither hear nor see anything. I went up higher to look down. I went up the shore and down the shore, but it was no good. I could find no other footprint but that one. I went to it again to see if there were any more footprints and to tell if it had been my imagination. But it was not mistaken, for there was exactly the print of a foot, toes, heel, every part of a foot. I could not imagine how it came there. I stayed a long time thinking, but became more and more confused. So one day, when Robinson was going towards his boat, he was surprised to see a footprint of a man on the sand. The word amazed here means extremely surprised. He looked all over that place for the person who made that footprint, but that was of no use. He went back near the footprint just to confirm that he was not imagining it, but there really was a footprint with all the parts of a foot. Robinson thought how it came there and he was really confused. At last I returned home very frightened, looking behind me after every 2 or 3 steps, mistaking every bush and tree to be a man. When I came to my cave, which I call my castle, I ran inside it, as if I was being chased. I do not remember whether I used the ladder or went in by the hole in the rock. So, after some time, he returned home very afraid and confused. He kept looking behind him as if there was a man on the island, and due to this fear, he was mistaking every tree to be a man. The word mistaking here means to be wrong about something. When he reached his cave that he lived in, he ran inside it as if he was being chased. The word chased means to be followed. He was confusing plants to be humans and he was imagining that someone is chasing him. So he ran for the cover in his cave. I ran for cover faster than any animal could run. I did not sleep that night. The more I thought about what I had seen, the more afraid I became. I thought it could be one of the savages of the mainland who had wandered out to the sea in a small boat. Luckily, I was not on the shore at that time, but what if he had seen my boat? If he had seen the boat, he would have realized that someone lived on the island and would soon return with others to kill and eat me. Now, Robin was really scared and he was not able to sleep the whole night. He kept on thinking about that footprint, and the more he thought, the more afraid he became. He came to the conclusion that it might be the footprint of one of the savages who live on the mainland. The word savage here means wild people in primitive state, and yes, they can kill and eat humans. The other word is mainland, means a large continuous extent of land. So he thought and he drew the conclusion that it might have been the savage of the mainland. He might have come wandering in his boat to the island. The word wandered means to go from place to place without a definite route, and that savage must have made that footprint. But his main point of being frightened was that if he had seen the boat of Robinson Crusoe, he might have realized that somebody is living on the island and he could come back with others and eat Robinson Crusoe. So I lay fearful for many days and prayed for protection. In doing so, I was much comforted and began going out to investigate. But even now, as I went forward, I looked behind me frequently because I was still very frightened. Robinson stayed in his cave for many days. He was very scared for his life and he prayed for protection. Then, after some days, he decided to go out to investigate about who made that footprint. But he kept looking here and there and behind frequently because he was really scared. The word investigate here means to inquire. Now, Robinson Crusoe gained some courage and he wanted to know that who made that footprint. He went there to investigate. However, as I went about for 2 3 days, I saw nothing. I became a little bolder. I decided to go down to the shore again and examine the footprint once more. I decided to measure it with my own footmark. As I came closer to the footprint, I realized that it could not be my footprint because I had not come to this part of the beach since a long time. Secondly, as I placed my foot alongside that footprint, it seemed larger than my own. My fear returned. I went home again, believing that there was someone here. The island was inhabited. Now Robinson went to the seashore for 2 3 times and he became bolder. That means he became confident enough to go and inquire about the footprint. When he went to the footprint, decided to examine it by putting his own foot alongside it. When he went to that part of the shore, he decided to measure his again, but a thought struck to his mind that he had not come to that part of the beach since a long time. And secondly, when he placed his foot alongside that footprint, he found it larger than his own. And now he was sure that island is inhabited. The word inhabited means occupied. So now he was sure that some savages have come to his island and inhabited it. Whose footprint was that? Well, kids, that's another story. But for now, Robinson was confirmed that his island was inhabited by savages and he was really scared about it. So, what do we learn from this story? We can learn to be brave, have courage, and always face your fears because most of the time problems can be real big, but many times it is not as big as it seems to be. So always remember to be brave and have courage.